getting blighted. I'd like to see it, if nothing else, torn down. But there again, there's a problem with that. You know, it's like,
who's going to pay for it? And then you have to put a house up there? Or
no, because there are gas tanks underneath it. So it's a problem.
So that's a cleanup.
Anyway, it's gotten to the point where the gentlemen at neighborhood inspections have been actually, I don't know if they're serious. I think they were. They say, you know, about every other week we do a drive-by on that particular gas station just to try to head you off.
See, why can't they take something like that and then make a contest for the graffiti artists and have them have a tag
Because
off?
the people in the neighborhood don't want it.
They're going to have it there anyway.
No,
Let's do a tag off.
No. That's...
We had it in ours, and we kept covering it up, cleaning my mom's fence off, and I finally gave up and quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, not in that neighborhood. You don't want that there.
You don't want it in any neighborhood.
It's a block and a half from a school.
Besides, this is gang graffiti.
Yeah.
Right, but if they do a tag off,
well,
then...
okay, my gang is better than your gang. No, I'm sorry.
No, but the artists that do that...
They're not artists.
We don't have those people in this town. They're gangs.
They're not like Chicago,
They're gangs
where they're
marking
tagging
their
artists.
territory.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're marking territory,
They're
even
still
if it's not
technically
theirs.
they're vandals.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I mean, I'd rather see something that
Well,
looks artistic than just having something, say, crude.
County Board, C minus. The school board D minus.
I'll give the county board a D until they eliminate a third of their county board supervisors.
And
I'll give them a D until they decide that, hey, I'm a part-time employee, I don't deserve insurance.
I agree with you.
And retirement too.
Yeah.
By state law, though, they get retirement like Summerstown board members
I was
do.
going to get them.
Well, on some issues.
And Summerstown and all board members are entitled to retirement.
Yeah. But the city, I give a
right.
B minus. And because I was part of the process, and there were a lot of things. You know, sometimes some of the votes I voted against certain things like charging for fire inspections.
That's a wrong.
I think that was wrong.
It's hurting business again.
Well,
That's not
that's
business
why I
friendly.
voted against it, and I don't really think it costs the city any more to do it the way they have been for free, because the firefighters, on their time when they're not, and they're on call even when they're doing these inspections, they can go out. So what are the options? They could be polishing the fire engine, or some of them do go through some training. They're doing some stuff that is directly related to being a firefighter. But at the same time, they're on call 24 hours a day, and a lot of the stuff they do, is not all the time. They're not going.
But they have to be ready.
They could have continued to do this, and
Sure.
it wouldn't cost the city any more than it had. But I think it was a tax grab. The tavern games, I didn't care for it. And but the one thing that the city, I give them, they're talking about. It didn't go through in this budget, but we did. Alderman Downing was the first person I heard floating the idea. And then Teddy Ruffalo in the second authored a resolution to direct the city administrator to present a plan for combining city planning and neighborhood inspections and see if we can save some dollars. And I think that's...
well, they have too many supervisors, I believe.
Well, this is one way to get rid of a supervisor.
They've got a few more.
If we can save some money, I think that's a good idea. And that may not... we're going to know in April, and let us hope that they do an honest appraisal for this, because sometimes people investing and say, no, we're not going to save any money, we're going to lose money.
Well, most of the people that I talk to, either inside or out, know how many supervisors they have in certain departments, and they know how excessive it is.
And anyway, so this is something the city is looking at. So there might be, in the latter half of the year, some savings if this gets implemented, because there's nothing that says it cannot be implemented in April.
Downsize the government. I'm all for that.
Well, some things. One thing that I would like to see the city and county and everybody do is there are different kinds of ways of determining a budget. And almost everybody starts out with, this is what you had, and what do we need to increase? And that's just plain not the best way to go. I think what we ought to do, and there are different terms for this, and this is not an idea that I've originated, but there are different terms for it, mostly on the statewide levels, but figure out, okay, what do we want to accomplish? What department do we want to accomplish this? and how much does it cost to accomplish this goal? Start with that. Start with zero. What do we want to be an end result?
Well,
for example,
they put the wish lists out, and you get your what's the report they call you get when you're doing your budget? What each department wants or needs.
well, no, not what each department wants. It's what do we need to have done. Not what each department wants or needs. What we need to have the roads repaired. Okay, this is what we know. We know this. Who should do it? Probably, Public Works, of course. Okay, Public Works should do it. How much does what we have planned to, say, repave or patch or whatever, how much does this cost? And start from zero and start out with what we needed to accomplish, and then go back and figure out how much that would cost.
That already, because some of the road repair budgets I've seen were like that.
They had them tagged out for 2 or 3 years down the road. Overall government, everything.
But beyond just doing that, we need to get rid of this. We have to spend it attitude, because when I worked in the county,
what I'm saying, you won't get to that, because it won't be. This is a budget. If we don't spend it, we're not going to get it next year. This would totally preclude that.
Yeah, because when I worked for the county, towards the end of the year, we would be told, okay, we need to get rid of this money. We need to. What can we do to use this money? What do we need so we can use it? Because if we don't use it, we lose it, and next year's budget will be less because we didn't need as much as we had this year.
See,
that is so wrong.
Most corporations run like that too.
Oh, I know.
We did it out in the factory. You got to buy all this tooling, and if you don't spend it all, we won't get it next year, so we got to spend it.
Right, and that's wrong.
That's my point. Now, it's not just start with what do we need,
and
go from
need.
there.
Not want.
What did I just say?
I know, but I'm agreeing with you. Need.
She's agreeing with me.
I
knew I'd convert her.
But they all have wish lists too.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
So if you take that philosophy, though, the zero-based budgeting philosophy, and you look at the state, which has a $3.4 billion deficit, how would you apply it to that?
Certain things in the state absolutely have got to be done. We recognize that. Certain things. So you start with the zero base, and then everybody talks about cutting out fat in government. And then there's always this search, and you got these committees and commissions. We're going to find the fat. Don't go there at all. Start out. This is what we want the state to accomplish. Find, the task. This is what we want. We want roads paved. Okay. The state's going to pave this many miles of road. Who's going to be in charge of that, and what's it going to cost? Don't go like, if you didn't use it, you don't have it. Just start out with that. We need a certain amount of police protection for the state, prisons, whatever. You start out with, this is what we're going to need. What's it going to cost to provide what we need? Start there, figure out what it costs, and then you budget that. Not going on and say, well, if you don't get it, we're not going to. If we don't spend the money we got.
They need to look at that $3.2 billion and start shaving that down quite a bit.
Well, since we're talking about the state, one-term Walker has done a couple of things already that I think are kind of shaky.
He won't be a one-termer.
I betcha. Okay, you want to bet with Anthony? I'll bet you.
Sure.
I'll bet you'll be a one-termer.
Okay.
What are some things that Governor-elect Walker has done so far that you don't like?
Okay. Well, one thing he's backed off on. He was originally going to use the inaugural contributions for the inauguration, and then just donated it to the Republican Party, used it for partisan.
Which other politicians have done before?
Oh, Doyle didn't do that.
Doyle didn't. I know, but others have.
It's wrong regardless of who does it.
Most of the money Doyle got was from people that owed him favors, so he just gave it back to.
But at least it went to the boys' clubs and the girls'
clubs. Well, that's what Mr. Trohop probably wanted.
No, come on. It went to charity. It went to charity.
Mr. Trohop is a big donor.
Did it go to any charity that was not a worthy charity?
No.
All right, then.
Okay.
But end of that debate.
Walker's not doing that now.
Another thing that he did is he went off. The problem is Walker is making noises about wanting to turn Wisconsin into a right-to-work state.
No, he never said that. Robin Voss said that. So Walker never commented on that. One of his staffers did too, but Robin Voss brought that up.
Well,
What's
Walker
wrong
never
with the
discussed
right-to-work
it.
State?
What?
What's wrong with the right-to-work state?
It's a matter of right to work for less. Let's jump into the swirly of the toilet as everybody's wages go swirling down.
I
sorry.
disagree. I grew up in
like
Arizona, which is a right to work state.
You know
what? You worked hard for your money, and you made it.
Well, you know what? I grew up in Florida, and I lived in Arizona, as you know. And you know what? And I'm convinced. We talked earlier about education, and I've been a classroom teacher. I teach at the university level now. I'm a member of 2 unions. I'm going to have a fairly good retirement that I've earned, that I've paid into. And I think all of this and I'll relate what you just said to a lot of the comments that people make about teachers and about education, as I think a lot of it, and it just doesn't come from Republicans, it comes from Democrats as well, who talk anti-teacher, anti-education trash talk that I hear all the time. I heard it out on the campaign trail. I heard people say, people would say to me, I'm a Democrat, but I think we ought to do away with with the teachers' unions, and they're too powerful.
Well,
and these were Democrats.
Understand though, at one time the teaching profession was very honorable, and people got in because
it's not honorable now.
It still is honorable,
but they loved to teach.
Right.
Now we've got people going into the profession that know it's a guaranteed job, they can't get fired. And it's
well, they can be fired.
Yes,
they can be fired.
Very hard to do.
And the reason why they can't, that they're not being fired, is because of documentation. A lot of administrators who don't do their job. Yep. So there are a lot of factors. But I think the issue with the right to work is that it's certainly seen by many as a way of doing away with the unions.
And it is.
And I think
that's what it is.
And I think if we take the words of the incoming Speaker of the House of Representatives in Washington, Mr. Boehner, that let's try to find some common ground, which I know may sound naive, but can we have some balance?
Really like.
Can we have some balance between that?
Well, Snap-on has right to move to Tennessee, right to work state. And they have unions down there as well.
That's right.
Both
and you
union
can have
and non-union working together in the same plant.
Well, the problem with the union and non-union is then you have free riders. You have people who are getting all the benefits of being represented in having their wages negotiated by the union, but they're free riders, so they're not. So that very, very much cripples the union. So it's a situation. Yeah.
Well, I'm a federal worker, and I don't belong to the union, and I don't consider myself a free rider.
She's a federal worker. You're on the public dole, huh?
Yeah.
Public. Okay.
And I have absolutely no problem with the fact that I have a pay freeze. I think it's the least.
I didn't say anything about that. I'm just.
But me personally, I don't have a complaint with it. I think it's the least I can do for my nation.
All these right to work laws, the whole purpose, the end game of them, is to destroy the unions. That's the purpose.
Well, where did most of the jobs in the United States or in Wisconsin go? A lot of them up here went down south because the workers.
Where did most of the jobs in the United States go? To China.
That's right.
Well, they started. They went down south.
All the discussion about right to work, unions, jobs leaving Wisconsin or the Midwest and going down, south,
Far south, Mexico.
They trickle all the way down to China.
Going to southern United States. I would like to see much more emphasis on buying American products.
Absolutely.
Keeping the money in the United States.
And
then
how do we do that?
You can't find anything made in America hardly.
If you move down there and there's people down south or in these other states who are willing to work for that wage, why should they not be